Hello there. Welcome to Lost in Literature. Today I'll be doing a sonnet called The World is Too Much with Us by William Wordsworth. Let me read the poem to you. I have also attached the text below. The world is too much with us, late and soon. Getting and spending we lay waste our powers. Little we see in nature that's ours. We have given our hearts away, a sordid boon. The sea that bears her bosom to the moon, the winds that'll be howling at all hours, and are upgathered now like sleeping flowers. For this, for everything we are out of tune. It moves us not. Great God, I'd rather be a pagan, suckled in a creed outworn. So might I, standing on this pleasant lea, have glimpses that would make me less forlorn, have sight of Proteus rising from the sea, or hear old Triton blow his wreathed horn. So there you are. It's a sonnet, like I said, with 14 lines. 8 lines present the problem to you, the tension in the poet's mind. And the next 6 lines find a solution for it. So let's look at it. Let's look at the first 8 lines. The poet says the world is too much with us. And when I read it for the first time, I thought he was talking about population explosion. But really, he is referring to a mechanized world which has become intolerable for him, because we have moved far away from nature. The previous agrarian society had given way to a mechanized one. And those were the days when industrial revolution was taking place in Britain. And it was moving at such a fast pace, and people were coming up with all kinds of inventions, and the lives of people had altogether changed, because now their days were governed by factory timings, the alarms going off, the siren blowing, and they had to scramble to work. It gave them little time to look at nature appreciatively. And then he moves on to 2 adverbs, late and soon. They're both adverbs of time, and it really shows the scramble for time, the way people rushed around. It was always a state of chaos, people running, hurrying, hastening here and there. And getting and spending also shows that the society had become mercenary altogether. People were only interested in earning in this mechanical society. They found jobs in factories, industries, which could churn out things, mass produce, and give the economy a kind of boost. So people believed in it, and they threw themselves wholeheartedly into that. And they were moving far, far away from nature, which is unconditionally ours. The poet rightly felt that we were wasting our powers of creativity, imagination, and also resources that came naturally to us. We were wasting all that, and we had given our hearts away in exchange for a sordid boon. An oxymoron here, 2 opposites put together, sordid boon, a very dubious blessing indeed, because we had literally given our souls away for a totally mechanical, mercenary society. Gone were the days when people found pleasure in looking at the sea, which bared its bosom to the moon, And how did it do that? Because if you remember, moon has a kind of, it exerts a gravitational pull on the sea and causes high tides or conversely low tides. And then the poet talks about the winds that howled at all hours. And when he talks about the winds and the sea, he's talking about the natural energy resources that were used earlier, and that had slowly given way to steam power, and then to other things, fuel, coal, fuel, and ultimately the nuclear power. Just imagine, look at the arc of technology, where it has led us to. And you have to admit that we've moved really far away from nature. So this is exactly what the poet is lamenting about. And he feels that all these things that were ours, the wind, the sea, all these have been upgathered like sleeping flowers, dormant now for the time being, because we have moved on to other things. For this and for everything, we humans are totally out of sync. We are totally away from nature. We have nothing to do with nature. All our powers have shifted to other things, to another world altogether. And nature no longer stimulates us, inspires us. It moves us not. Because we are totally out of tune now. We have nothing to do with nature. And now he really laments, great God. He says, he calls upon God. And the poet says, he'd rather be a pagan. Now, what is paganism? Paganism is a kind of faith where people believed in nature, in various gods of nature. They worshipped nature. And the poet now wants to move away from mainstream religion and go back to paganism, which was kind of considered uncivilized. But Wordsworth would rather embrace paganism. He'd rather believe in myths and legends and old world things and creeds that are outdated like paganism. And if he does so, he will find himself again standing on this pleasant lea, as he calls it, a grassland. You can imagine a meadow on a cliff overlooking the sea. So there he is out in the night looking at the high rising waves. And he feels that these glimpses, these little snatches of natural visions would revive him, restore him, and make him less lonely, because he is not at all in tune with this industrial world today. And you know that we've really moved far, far, far away with networks and satellites and Wi-Fi and all kinds, and mobiles, all kinds of things today. It is true. We don't even have time to look at the night sky. And what's the point in looking at it? Because stars are no longer visible to us because of the other lights prevalent, the other artificial lights prevalent and overtaking our vision. So might I stand on this pleasant lea, Wordsworth says, and have glimpses of nature that would make him feel less lonely. And he would really like to call upon his imaginative powers. He would like to see Proteus, a sea god, rising from the sea. He'd rather believe in such things, such myths. Proteus was a sea god who was capable of predicting the future. But whenever, people approached him, tried to grab him, get him to predict the future, that is in mythology, he would just break away, change his shape, and move away. And then, of course, he talks about Triton blowing his wreathed horn. Titan was also a sea god, and he was the son of Poseidon, and he had this conch, and he would blow it to calm the waves. Think about it. This man that is the poet, would rather cling to these legends of mythology. He'd rather go back to that world which had space for imagination rather than the world today which is so fast paced. Well, I'm all with Wordsworth, I think. I truly believe in imagination. I leave you to reflect on this poem. Think about it, and if you like it, please let me know. Hit the like, share it, please, and subscribe to my channel. I really need subscribers. Well, thank you for listening to me, and catch you again next week.